As an NFL general manager, choosing between Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota almost depends on how much testicular fortitude you have. If you're worried about job security and want to play it safe with the sure thing, more ready prospect who's ready to win now and can start week 1 this season, then you go with Winston. If you want to take a chance with a more athletic, raw specimen who you need to develop but may have higher upside, you'd take Mariota. There's more of a chance that Mariota flops, however. There is the possibility that these two guys go number 1 and 2 in this year's class, and if the Titans decide that Mariota doesn't fit their system, which quite frankly I don't think he does, Leonard Williams does, but don't rule out another team trading up into that number 2 spot. So let's break these two guys down, but before I do, I went and ranked the top 20 quarterback prospects of this draft, and if you want to see my list, click on that description box below. At the end of each video, I'm going to break down which prospects are also the best fits for the Eagles. So you're going to get a national and local perspective in each video. As for who I think is better, I'd take Winston over Mariota. He has the it factor and the intangibles that you want in a quarterback. Obviously, it also depends on what system you have because, well, Mariota is the prototype for Chip Kelly's offense. I love that Winston's a winner, a leader, a motivator, and comes through in clutch situations. He's a student of the game and studies the tape. He's smart and recognizes defenses when they try to disguise. It really didn't surprise me that, he got a good score on the Wonderlic test, only one behind Peyton Manning. Just because he's a dumbass off the field doesn't mean he's dumb on the field. What about his talent as a passer? Well, he knows when to change speeds on his throws, when he has to put a little bit of extra mustard on that pass. I mean, he was a pitcher for Florida State's baseball team. He also puts good touch on the ball when throwing it into the bucket. I like that he stays in the pocket, takes the hit, and still throws an accurate ball. In fact, I think he's very accurate overall. His back shoulder ball placement is phenomenal, and he squeezes throws into tight windows. As for his weaknesses, I really don't see much besides maybe tweaking his footwork and locating defenders over the middle of the field. Obviously, the huge concern with Winston is his character, but I'm not going to knock it as much as other people might because of his leadership and ability to rally his teammates. I do think he'll mature a little bit as the years go by. If you want my detailed scouting report on Mariota, check out my last video where I broke down his strengths and weaknesses. So let me use this realm to say this. There is a little bit of a misconception about him that he was in this fast-paced gimmick offense that simplifies its route tree. That's really not the case. Sure, the scheme features, a bunch of screen passes, but the NFL route concepts it features include horizontal spacing routes, drive digs, trail patterns, and switch combinations. Again, if you want to hear more, check out my prior video. As for the rest of the quarterback class, I mean, after Winston and Mariota, it's awful. It's not good at all. I don't see any other, NFL caliber starters. So you can make the case maybe for Brett Hundley due to his upside, but I'm not high on the guy. I don't like him. I'm not big on him. My third-ranked quarterback is Colorado State's Garrett Grayson. He was a 3-year starter who, he improved each season. I like the way he throws the seam and in breaking patterns. I think he's accurate, has a good arm, has quick feet to extend plays. He does have a long delivery, and sometimes he drops his arm prior to his release. But other than that, I think he's really solid. It could be a really solid backup. I've heard that the Eagles might be linked to him. Number 4 on my list is Baylor quarterback Bryce Petty. He has good size. He's athletic. Has a quick release. He has a good deep ball. Obviously, I'd hope so in Art Briles' offense. He does benefit from great skill players and scheme, and pretty much looks primarily at only one half of the field. I've got Hundley slotted at number 5. I just don't see it. I know a lot of, rankings that I've seen, they've got him at number 3, but I don't know. I think he shows up small in big games. He gets bothered by pressure, decision-making inconsistent. Sure, he's athletic. He extends plays, has a strong arm, but he needs a lot of work. He probably is going to be the third quarterback taken in this draft, but I'd stay away. I don't want to touch him. I don't want him. Some other thoughts I have, I really don't see what the infatuation is with Brandon Bridge out of South Alabama. I mean, this guy has I don't know. I watched this bowl game, the Camellia Bowl he had against Bowling Green. I just don't see it. He's another guy, man. I just don't see it. Sure, he's, got this huge arm, and he's big, and he's athletic, but that's really it. That's all he has to offer. He's very, very inaccurate. He lacks consistency. Couldn't get that one out. When he didn't play in the Sun Belt, he struggled. For example, South Carolina. He went 2 of 11 for 19 yards. All right. So you're in the Sun Belt. Sure, you can put up big numbers against those guys. But you go up against an SEC team, I want to see a little bit better than 2 of 11 for 19 yards. I don't know. I'm not seeing the infatuation with him at all, but, whatever. All right, so which guys fit the Eagles besides Mariota? Unfortunately, Hundley does, due to his athleticism and his ability to run the zone read. I'd be scared about Brandon Bridge. Grayson is also a fit, and once again, I've heard rumors that the Birds might take him later on if they can't land Mariota. So those are the 3 that I'd be looking at, and obviously Grayson is the only one I would want. History says that, when quarterbacks are taken with the first 2 picks in an NFL draft, one thrives and the other one tanks. We've seen this play out 4 times since 1993, although to be fair a little bit, Robert Griffin III still has a chance to rectify his career, but it's not looking good right now for him. So let's talk about the 2012 NFL Draft. That was the one with Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III. Luck, drew the top billing, and so far he's lived up to the hype and then some. He's taken the Colts to the playoffs each season as a starter. Got him to the AFC Championship game this past season. So, he's doing big things already for them. The 2012 Offensive Rookie of the Year, Griffin, surprisingly, he led the Redskins to the playoffs that season. But he tore his ACL in the wildcard playoff loss to Seattle. And he hasn't been the same since. And many are wondering if he peaked as a rookie. So we'll see. He's, he just hasn't progressed in the pocket. It's not looking good for him right now. 1999 was a year where quarterbacks were selected with the first 3 picks. Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, and Achilles Smith. McNabb was the only one to make a Pro Bowl. Couch wasn't the worst quarterback or anything, but you would expect better from a number 1 pick. He lasted 5 years as a starter. McNabb, meanwhile, played in Philadelphia, led the Eagles to 7 playoff appearances, and was a 6-time Pro Bowler during his stellar 13-year career with the Birds, even though, everyone booed him on draft day. Smith, I'm not really going to get into him. He was bad. He was real, real bad. Peyton Manning was the top pick in 1998. Ryan Leaf was second. I think that's all I have to say there. Drew Bledsoe drew top honors in 1993. Went to 4 Pro Bowls in a 14-year career. He's currently 10th in NFL history in NFL career passing yards. Rick Meyer, on the other hand, he was the second pick. Journeyman starter, played for 5 teams in 8 years. So, also to show you that, first-round quarterbacks, they don't always pan out. So, from the past 10 drafts, I went back, looked at everyone, and I've tallied 6 hits, 9 misses, and 5 to be determined. So, obviously, it's not always a sure thing. The guys I listed as to be determined, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, E.J. Manuel, Griffin, and Sam Bradford. And out of those 5, Manziel and Manuel already looking like busts. I do like what I see from Bortles, and Griffin and Bradford are on this list due to injury. So I'm going to count down from 2011. So let's look at some of these drafts. 3 quarterbacks were taken in 2011. Cam Newton, 1st overall. Jake Locker, 8th. Blaine Gabbert, 10th. Newton's obviously been fine, but Locker's already out of the league. He retired, and if you want to look up the word garbage in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of Gabbert next to it. Bradford was the top pick in 2010. Tim Tebow was 25th. Tim Tebow, he can't even get a quarterback job with the Philadelphia Passion of the Lingerie League right now. In 2009, Matthew Stafford was taken with the number 1 pick. I'd say he's been fine. But Mark Sanchez, 5th. Josh Freeman, 17th. Those guys are busts. Matt Ryan was the 3rd pick in 2008. Joe Flacco was 18th. They both panned out just fine. 2007, meanwhile, was a complete joke. Jamarcus Russell was your top pick that year. Brady Quinn was 22nd. They both didn't really last very long, did they? Vince Young was 3rd in 2006. Matt Leinart, 10th. Jay Cutler, 11th. I put Cutler in my hit column, but I can see why some would think he's a bust. But, he's put up yards. I mean, yeah, he's not great or anything, but he's better than Leinart. He's better than Young, Russell, Quinn. I mean, some of these busts are really, really bad. So I put Cutler in the hit column. So 2008 was really the only draft that produced two Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. But despite what history says, I like both Winston and Mariota. And I think we're going to see them both succeed at the pro level. I really like these guys, Yeah, so that's that. That's it for today. I'm going to be doing more of these later in the week. Maybe even tomorrow if I can get, something done by then. I'm going to be doing running back rankings, wide receiver rankings. Going to look at some O-line prospects, look at D-line prospects, linebacker, secondary. I'm going to have it all covered. All right. So tune into this channel. If you want some good in-depth NFL draft talk, I've got you covered. All right. So that's it for today. Again, make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Bitter Birds. I'm Adrian Fedkiw. Take care. And, see ya.